welcome to a very special episode of the BigFooty Richmond Tigercast. I'm your host, Michaels, and tonight we're going with a bit of a trade special, and we can only do a trade special with one man, and that is Tiger71. So welcome to you, mate.
Yeah, g'day, Michaels. Yeah, thanks for having me, mate.
No dramas at all, and we'll start off the same way we started with all of our guests. We'll just find out a bit about yourself. So how did you become a Richmond supporter?
Well, my parents came to Australia when I was about 2 years of age, and being Spanish and in our culture, it's your sporting clubs, you're like a part of the family. So when my dad got off the boat and he got housed up in Simmons Street in the Commission Flats over there in South Yarra, and we were part of the Richmond zone. So he straight away made us members, and since that day I was a Tiger member, and it was only till about grade 4. That's when I decided, 100% Richmond, and went on from that.
Oh, very nice. It's funny how the zones work. I mean, that doesn't really exist too much anymore, but a lot of the supporter base is funneled through because of that, how it was back in the day.
Yep.
All right, before we get into the juicy topics of the trade stuff, we'll do a bit of a roast and toast. So I've given you the roast to do for tonight. So what have you got for us?
Oh, look, there was a wide selection, like our crap Kigs 2010 posts and a few other things, but I wanted to focus on the umpiring. We had a debate on our forum mentioning, we always blame umpires. We shouldn't be blaming umpires. But I think it goes to show, if you've watched all games this year, to be negative 70, I think it's negative 79 on the free kick count is absolutely bloody disgusting. I seriously think this year, and it's not just our club, I reckon other clubs have been a victim of it. We saw it against in the Sydney and Adelaide game. I reckon they coach, and the jumper is on the back of their minds when they make decisions. And what's getting me, it's not the decisions that they make, it's the decisions that they don't make that really weigh the contest in favour. And the Cats game just teed it off for me. But, umpiring absolutely sucks this year. Yeah,
it hasn't been great. And, when you keep seeing that differential that you mentioned, it just makes you wonder, is there a little bit more to it? Because the weird thing is we're playing pretty, not aggressive, but we're first to the ball more often than not. And it's also the free kicks that we aren't getting as well. Like the amount of times where we've tackled blokes perfectly, they've dropped the ball and it's called play on. It can be pretty deflating, and I think the guys do really well to actually push through that and not let it get to them as much as it gets to the fans.
Yeah, I agree. What kills me, though, this year we've seemed to be the club that's been the flag bearer of rule changes. Like we had the shocking, I don't want to swear on a podcast, but it was an absolute shocking decision against Short against Essendon. That was absolutely shocking. They changed that. And then we had the deliberate, after they balls that up, change it for the following week. It's just ridiculously bad this year.
Yeah, and then you see like the incident against Geelong when Mackie handballs it to a bloke over the line, and it's like, come on, there's no one within 10 metres of him, and you're letting that one go.
Just, if you're going to cheat, just try to make it a bit more sophisticated. That was just blatant stupidity by the umpiring group. And the reason why I feel that this year, I do believe the umpires talk about prior quarters and if they're getting it wrong, is because if you notice in a lot of the games, if one side's way down in the differential for the free kick count, they always start paying junk free kicks towards the end to even it up. That's my belief. So they wouldn't do that if they was officiating per the rule.
That's right. That wouldn't happen. And that Geelong game's example again, because it was, 22-6 at half time or whatever it was, and in the 24. End it was 24, and then in the end at the conclusion of the game it was 28 to whatever we ended up on. So they only got 14. 4 extra free kicks in another 2 quarters of football. Ridiculous. And like you said, it wasn't obviously officiated to the letter of the ruling. It was just done to even it out, which is not what the sport's about. But I wonder if, there's always the argument about the umpires becoming a full-time profession. I wonder if that would maybe change things a little bit.
Oh, yeah and no. I think because there's an umpiring department, and I seriously, look, I'm going to show my age here, being 45. I've gone through the Lockett, should have been a Tiger. I've gone through Maxfield leaving, how that happened, Lambert. I still think, part of me, the pessimistic side of me, the AFL's corrupt. And the umpiring department's directly linked to the AFL. To get a fully impartial umpiring department, it has to be away from the AFL completely. I got this out of the box thinking, get some people from overseas, get a group of them, like 12, teach them the game for, I don't care if it takes them 3-4 years, and just use that little department like an outsourced call centre. They're the ones that umpire the game. Only then I believe? Would you get a truly partial, someone that's not bonded to any other side will manage the game and umpire the game correctly? That's my belief.
Yeah, it could be the only way to do it. And
because, if I was an umpire, I'll be honest. If I'm an umpire, I'm umpiring a Richmond game. Because I was a kid following them up. If you've got a bit of passion, even if you try to be professional, on the back of your head, you're getting tired. You just run, 10 kilometres up and down the ground. You see a Swan jumper hit a Richmond jumper. My bias will come out. Oh, yep, the Richmond guy, no, that was in the back. That's what happens.
I think it's more that the umpires aren't held to account. I think I wrote this in the thread as well, that it'd be nice. I know it'll never ever happen, but it would be nice if they had to actually do a press conference themselves after the game, like the coaches do, and answer any questions from the media about certain decisions, because I think people would appreciate an explanation, whether they agree with it or not. I think it's irrelevant. Just the fact that they can hear an umpire give his reasoning behind it, I think would actually diffuse a lot of the situations, but they just seem to be too much of a protected species.
Or even when they, or if not a conference, we know when players get dropped for bad form, have the umpires get dropped. Let it be the umpiring departments, puts out a press release. Dilboy has been dropped for cheating, or just for bad decisions. That'd be good. You know what I mean? That'd be good to know to help with the transparency, I would think.
It would be good. I've written up a bit of a toast, and I know we're going to talk about this guy a little bit later on, but I want to toast Dusty for his form this year and for winning all the media awards virtually under the sun with still around to play. I think he's had a fantastic year, and take away all the contract saga, he set himself a goal to play the best year of footy of his life at the start of the year, and he's lived up to it. And I think he's just had a ripping season.
Oh, he's been fantastic, bloody fantastic. He's he's got his weaknesses in his game, like his disposal, and he can turn over the ball. But the positives of the guy is, mate, I love him. I absolutely love him. I've had the pleasure to follow his career since when it was in New South Wales, and he's just a great kid, absolutely great kid, and he works hard. His work ethic can't be questioned. He's just a brilliant player. Yeah,
and it's funny because it's very well reported that he doesn't really spend a lot of time in the gym doing weights, but yet he still maintains that strength, and he's just so powerful all through the body, and he's just one of those players that's almost impossible to stop.
Yeah, it's a bit of a fallacy though. Like, he doesn't lift weights, but he does a lot of work around his agility and his core work. He does a fair bit of that, boxing and all the. Look, I'm not a fitness guru, but the overall fitness type things. They might not be weights, but they're I've just gone blank. It's probably because I'm on the podcast. But, they do the circuit work and the core work, boxing, hand skills, all that sort of stuff. He does a lot of that.
Yeah, he's a very fit and big unit. So we'll push on to – I just want to get your thoughts on the final series coming up. We're obviously going to be playing a part in it, and we do have to get through St Kilda first. But at the start of the year, did you think we were a chance to make finals based on how we performed in 2016?
Yeah, I did. I think I posted in that thread when we had our opinions if we're going to make it or not. I thought we had a good enough list to make the 8, at least anything from 6 to 8. Anything above that, if we played above our level, I reckon we could have got as close to the top 4, but they've exceeded my expectations. After 2016 and what a tragedy it was, I just thought, we're going to lose players in droves. I think we had Rance. Rance was contracted last year, wasn't he?
Was it all the year? I think it was the year before.
The year before,
yeah.
I just thought, Brandon Ellis, so many players went back the rate of knots in their development, and I just thought, well, done. And it'll take a couple of years to get out of it. But, to their credit, Carousella, Balm, I reckon Hardwick doesn't get the credit he deserves on our board. He's had our list, this is his 9th season. We've been in finals, though we haven't won a final. He's got us in finals 4 times out of it in 5 years. I think we're the only 3rd club to do that. Funny enough, it surprised me when I heard that. I don't know if that's factually correct or not. I heard that on the radio. But he hasn't got a finals win, but he's worked with some shit on the list, and he's managed to get us to be competitive. We just need to win a final, mate.
Yeah.
We just need to win a final. Get that monkey off the back.
Agree, and I think he's now got the perfect support cast around him, like you said, with Carousella and Barm and Lepic coming back. I think that is kind of the ideal team to have, and no disrespect to the other assistant coaches we had, but there just seemed to be some kind of a mental blockage or hurdle that we couldn't go the extra mile, and I think this year has produced some of the best footy we've played for a very long time. So fingers crossed this year's the year that we can win a final.
Yes, no. Look, we've got the game plan. What's great, what was Hardwick's Achilles heel, and I reckon the coaching group, that's why thank God they all got turfed out the window, is that they try to be geniuses. Like, if you're not smart, don't pretend to be smart. So what I mean by that is they'll play a certain way for 23 games and then go decide in finals, you know what, we're going to change the game plan, the actual core parts of the game plan, and it would explode and blow up in our faces. This year going around, we'll play the same way we've played in the home and away. We'll play the same way in finals. I've got no doubt about that. So the guys know where to go. They know what to run. They know who's with them. And it should at least make us a lot more consistent. So hopefully we get a few wins. Yeah,
it would be very nice. All right, we'll move on to the main reason why everyone wants you to come onto the show, and I'm glad that you have, to talk about trades.
Really? I thought it was because they've all, like, I know a lot of people on the board say I sound like the Aussie version of Antonio Banderas, and they just wanted me on just to hear my voice.
Just to hear your voice. Oh, it could be that too.
Yeah. All right.
I'm sure there'll be a few comments about that, no doubt.
Fantastic. But look, I'm holding you up to after I give you after we finish the trade, you've promised me to drive me to groupies. So you're going to make sure you hold on to that.
No worries.
Oh, too easy.
All right, so obviously you've been posting some good updates over the years, and
yep.
Obviously some people kind of get confused with the fact that people do actually have inside info. It's not always just people making up shit. So
yeah.
Without giving away who your source is and all that kind of stuff, are you able to give any kind of insight as to what information you've received that's been proven correct, just so it can be verified that, you know, you do have some good mail and it's not just complete made-up stuff?
Yeah. Look, the guys that before I do that, I'll probably start why I started posting. Because if you check my posting history at the start, I never used to post anything about trades and publicly on the forum. I used to do it all in conversations. Look, in 2011 when I officially I read the Big Footy board for a lot longer before that, but 2011, there was some shit written on the boards. Like, you would get everyone, every man and his dog was writing shit that they had inside scope and inside word and inside this, and it was full-on bullshit. There were some truthful people on there, and they would absolutely get ripped down to shreds, but there were people there that were basically lying. I could tell they were lying. So I decided to post, and what inspired me to post was RFC Tiger71, and this is not a knock on him. I actually like the bloke. He's a good guy. He was posting about the rumours when Dusty first was going to sign on or not sign on his first contract. And this probably give you the veracity that of why I'm not bullshitting. I don't need a bullshit. But anyway, all my credentials, inverted commas. Yes, anyway, it was going on, and he was just repeating what he's heard. And I decided, well, stuff it. The reason why I know a fair bit is, and I'll make this clear, I used to travel in the circles that a lot of the club officials travel. Not players. I know a few players because I've got mates that have sons that play football, but they don't talk. They don't break their secrecy. I had a cousin that was fortunate enough to play for the Tigers, but again, he wouldn't say anything. But it was mainly this people that I know that are in the industry. That's probably the best way to say it. And generally, outside clubs know what other clubs are doing. That's why. And look, you can just check my posting. I generally break a name before the media will run with it, and then the name will come out. Now, when I break a name, it doesn't mean I'm saying yep, they're a lock. Like Shield was a perfect example. I broke Shield before, I think a month or two before anyone else did. If you want to go back all the way up my posts. So I mentioned Shield and I ran with it because I truly believed it, because I actually saw texts that I believe it was from Shield to a certain party that, yep, he's definitely coming. And the reason for that is because they were telling clubs that were also interested in him, look, we're not interested. And one of the clubs that got told that got also told he's going to the Tigers. And then, unfortunately, we just fucked that completely up, which was an absolute nightmare. He could have been a Tiger if we had just did that a little bit smarter. But that's water under under the bridge, as they say. But yeah, there's that Hampson. I said Hampson before anyone else, before he was even on the bloody radar. I said that West Coast, I've even forgotten his name, that West Coast kid on the last trade period. Forgot what his name was now.
I remember the post,
Yeah, before anyone else did. The media wasn't even running with it. Then they 2 weeks later started running with it. So, yeah, so really just for the guys that are listening to this, the reason why I post, and this is the only reason, is I don't need to get validation on a website, right? So I actually love a lot of guys on here, right? I've part of the community. When I feel down, I want to have a bit of a smile. I'll get on and someone's posted some shit that's funny. You know what I mean? And that feels that, you know, that's a good thing. And I rate the mods, like the mods that we've got now and prior, like Morrow and Equus, Heisenberg, they put a lot of their personal selves onto the actual website. And when I saw that, I thought, fuck it. Excuse language. Sorry. I apologize. That's all right. Yeah, I said, fuck it. I said, you know what? I got to, first of all, my main aim was to cut the bullshit about Dusty. So that's why, going back to my original point, I started posting stuff that no one else really knew. And if you go back to the Dusty saga, that first ever thread, you'll notice, you read my posts, within a couple of days later, the media would start posting basically word for word what I had posted, because I knew where my source was getting it from, and it was 100% right. With Dusty, the only one I have a little bit of arrogance on. My source is really close to it all, and he would know. He would know generally before most any other one else would know, and that's the only hint I can give. So with Dusty in particular, I'm pretty well spot on. So with that said, everyone just take a fucking chill pill. That's just all this stuff about North, that broken ass club, about Essendon, about it's all bullshit. What is true is we've offered a contract. I don't know exactly now. This is also too. I draw dots. I draw lines to dots, and I'll write something. So, like, I'm thinking it's 1.2, 6 to 7 years. I haven't been told it's 1.2. I've been told it's over $1 million, and I've been told it's we've increased our offer from originally 4 to 5 to 5 to 6. But hearing from other mates of mine, I think it is 7 that we've now gone up to. And we're holding the line at 1.1 or 1.2. We're not going to move. We just will not move. The feedback I got from that is from 3 weeks ago is actually about 5 weeks ago. And then the media sort of jumped onto it and everyone was saying he's signing the very next week. Actually, it was longer than that. It was about 7, 8 weeks when I made a post and said, look, he'll sign before the finals. And then it started coming out. Other people, inverted commas, in the know on the media said, yeah, he'll sign before finals. And then Caro confirmed it should be before finals after that as well. So that hasn't changed. That timeline hasn't changed. I do know North came in with an offer when they were told no. I haven't written that down. I thought I'll keep that for you guys that listen to this. I do know for a fact that they were told no, that not interested about 2-3 weeks ago. And they might have come back with a revised offer. I don't know if that's true or not. I know that's just blown up the past 3-4 days. I've asked the guys that I trust. A couple of them came back to me laughing, as Michael, don't waste our time. So I have extreme confidence that Dusty will still be a Tiger. The only way North could get him, or any club could get him, if they pay him something stupid like 1.7. He won't move for 1.5. 1.6, 1.7, because he's got to make more money at Richmond outside of his career. We've shown him that.
Yeah, exactly.
We win a bloody flag, the guy would never want for anything in his whole entire life. Now, a lot of people going on him about loyalty and why hasn't he signed? He should be signing. He hasn't signed. What an arsehole. He's a mercenary. I just want to paint this clear if I can. And Michaels, I'm conscious I don't want to take over your whole entire show.
No, go for it.
Just to defend Dusty a little bit, if anyone's spoken to Dusty or met him in a BF night or after a game, now I'm not saying I'm best mates with Dusty at all, not at all. I'm not even saying that, but I've got a good gauge of the guy. And one thing with him is he's loyal to a fault. So when I say that, a lot of these people listening to this should be fucking smiling because he's loyal to a fault, and he's loyal to a few things. He's loyal to his mates, and he's got a lot of mates at the Richmond Football Club. But he's loyal to Carr, and Carr is a very smart man. Now, I don't like him. I think I actually had the pleasure to meet the guy and had a wine with him. He's a toss bag. But he's a very, very professional toss bag. He's milking this for whatever it's worth. Dusty's fully on board with it. Club understands why they're doing it, why Carr wants to do it this way. It benefits Carr. It benefits Dusty because Dusty had a sign at the beginning of the year. He would have been missed out on another $300,000-$400,000. We've revised our offer, including the cost of the Brownlow, I believe. So that's why we're confident that the timeline for us will be after round 23, I believe, that week before the Brownlow. Might be actually the week of the Brownlow. I don't know how they're going to maximise.
Okay, so you reckon that announcement around them, because obviously Mark Stevens ran with his report yesterday about Dusty flying to New Zealand and this, that and the other, and I wrote back to him on Twitter saying I'd put my house on that trip was already planned well before any of this.
Well in advance. Yeah, well in advance.
Because he goes there on breaks and he's like, oh yeah, but he's taking Carr with him this time. I was like, well, yeah, great, but that could be to work out when he's going to put pen to paper for Richmond. Doesn't mean anything about North Melbourne, and he just made a massive story out of it. But realistically, that trip, I believe, was always planned. He was always going to New Zealand to visit his old man in a week off.
Exactly. And if Steve-O seriously thinks no one at the club has gone to see Shane or flown over there, if he seriously thinks that Neil hasn't met Shane and that Dan Richardson hasn't met Shane a few times, he's dreaming. He's got to do a bit more homework. It's common. See, what the uniqueness for us is, some people that know about the past would understand what I'm saying now, will resonate with them. Shane's a big part of Dusty. Shane has been involved in a lot of Dusty's re-signings in the past, has got involved. So now he's out of the country. It makes it hard for him.
Yeah.
Makes it hard for him. So what the club's trying to do is just trying to keep him as inclusive as we possibly can. There's nothing. Don't read anything into it. Steve-O's just an absolute idiot. I don't rate that guy. Him and Barrett, I seriously think. They get the information from less credible people that I hear from. Now, I know anyone listening to this podcast is going, "Oh, Tiger71, you're up yourself," and I'm not. I just people that know me and that have met me, had a beer with me, I'm brutally honest. That's the truth. It is what it is.
That's good news to hear about Dustin. And I'm well and truly with you on this one because, like I posted as well, I saw a text message that went to Trocko Williams that said, your boy staying at Richmond, and he replied saying, "Yep." And I thought, well, that's good enough for me. So, and the person who showed me that hasn't moved from his stance on that message either. So he's still pretty confident with it all.
Look, I'll be shocked if he did leave. Like when I say to you, I believe 100% in my heart of heart he's staying. I think that's already been done. I think the players were taking the piss too with all the Dusty love because they knew he was staying at the club. I knew he was with us. The feeling I had that he was staying. It's about 9 weeks ago. I think that's when I got told, yep, it's done, it's locked in.
So we really just have to hope the North Melbourne don't come in with a really crazy offer of over 1.5.
I don't think he'll play for North, even if they did. He absolutely can't stand travelling. He hates it. And with North, he'll have to travel more. Some journos should be doing a bit of research on. He hates travelling. He hates he hates Tasmania because of the weather. And he doesn't like North.
He has been on record to say that.
Has he?
Yeah, on one of those Good for Footy shows or whatever it was. He actually has said that.
And it just bites them on the arse because they're very lippy on the ground. That club, very lippy. And Scott, I believe, at the start of when he was first coaching, I don't know if this is factually 100% right. This is just what someone had told me. Scott had said a few bad words about Dusty to someone that's got back to him. That's why when this all started, everyone's going, St Kilda, he's a lock, Mick. Yeah, I'm sorry, he's a lock, Tiger71, he's a lock. And I said, no, he's not going to Saints, 100%. What happened? Everyone's going, yeah, for months. Yeah, he's going. No. Because Saints, with the chopsticks gate, his last re-signing, prior to that, they were saying, no, he's bad character. We don't want that type of character at the club. And that they burnt their bridges. Because Dusty's old school. He has a lot of old school in him, which is probably from his dad. He's loyal to a fault, and he doesn't forget what people say about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's definitely good to hear. Well,
Maybe a Tiger.
Well, there you go. You've heard it here first, everyone. I'll throw a couple of names at you that you can probably knock on the head pretty quickly. They've just been reported or linked to us in some way. Levi Casbolt.
Yeah, look, listen, I've heard about Levi. I know we looked at him. That's all I can really say. I don't believe one of the journos went off that we've got an offer on the table. I don't think we have. I think it's more if we can't get our main target, he might be a good plan B. See, our issue is we've got key position depth playing VFL, but they're not fucking good. Sorry, they're Elton, nice kid. And I hope he's got a uni education, but he ain't a footballer. I know that's harsh. People like him, and I like him too. He just can't. I don't think he's going to make it. He just doesn't have the engine. He doesn't have a modern-day tour, what a modern-day tour needs. You got Griffiths, who's always injured, though I think Griffiths could be a special talent if he had some sustainability in his game. I don't think he has it. And he's one concussion away from retiring, and I think everyone's aware of that. So I'm not saying, no, we won't get Casbolt. He's going to cost us nothing. He'll probably cost us $350,000, $400,000 a year. I nearly choked on my steak bone when I heard Robbo goes, he's going to want $650,000 to come to us. We wouldn't be paying him that. We would just be paying him the chance to play finals.
Yeah.
And that's what he wants.
And is Mason Cox in a similar kind of boat? I mean, that one sounds very recent as of...
I've heard nothing on Mason Cox.
Okay.
I haven't asked the question. Normally what happens is how I get some of my mail, and people that do get mail from people that in the industry probably do the same thing as I do. I don't normally, it's very rare, I'll go out and ask about a particular player because then you cross a line, I think, from being a mate to, someone just trying to get the news. But I hear, because I have a indoor football, indoor soccer league, and a few of them are in. And I also do a lot of barbecues. I make the best pepper steak on a barbecue, mate. It's actually fucking renowned. Anyway, over wine or thing, I'll mention, because they know I'm a Tiger tragic, they'll come up with something for me, and I'll get the odd text. The only one I call favours in, I probably got 2 or 3 free tickets a year, and the one I'm going to drop now, I've asked, is this true? And I got told yes. Is it going to happen? We do not know. But do we think it's possible? And this is before Rodney Eade got sacked. And I think I even might have mentioned to you 2-3 weeks ago about him. Tom Lynch. That's the one that we've been looking at. I know it's been reported now in the paper, but Tom Lynch, for a far while back, we've sort of felt that we've asked inquiries. We believe he would be perfect fit for the club. Obviously, Shaki and Lynch were the two our main targets. I'm not saying he's coming across. I do know we're hunting and we're seeing what can we do to get it done. This draft we've got is pretty weak. I would not be surprised if we bundled our first pick and a player and to try to get someone like a Tom Lynch across. So I know Tom Lynch is the one that we're being very quiet about, but that's someone we're trying to see if we can pry out. The club does recognise our window's open or we're prying it open and very quickly. So we've gotten a lot of kids the last 2 years. We're going to be aiming for mature age I hate using that word. Sorry, not mature age, but consistent talent or talent that's young that we know that can hit the ground running like Graham we saw on the weekend, big body 19-year-old.
Well, Tom Lynch would be an absolute massive signing if we were able to pull it off. Like, that changes the team dynamics completely.
Could you imagine him and fucking Jack in the forward, Jack at centre half forward, because then he could feed the smalls if they're running under his feet, and Tom Lynch in deep if we need to go for the long bomb. Kicking it to him.
It'd be magical to watch. But I suppose the interesting piece of the puzzle is if we were to hypothetically offer a pick and a player, what kind of player would that look like? Because they'd obviously ask for something pretty decent, I dare say.
Going to be a defender. And if it was going to be defender, I haven't said, no one said this to me, but it's the only way, because, I'm like everyone else. I get excited, but how could you get it done? And I think if we packaged up our late first, and we packaged up a player like Asprey, even though, because you've got to give good to get good. A player like Asprey who is not adverse to going to Queensland, who's proven now he can play all the season. He's a very good defender. That is something that will get it done. because they're extremely lacking. Him and May in a tandem is exactly what they need, Ashbury and May together. And they don't really need more forward. Well, they need anything. They need everything, really. But that's what I would think would make them think about it. Look, I don't want to lose Ashbury.
Was Lynch disgruntled in any way, or is he just wanting a change of scenery? Or
I think they made him captain at the start of the year to keep him. I think he's not. This is all rumour, right? So I'm not saying this is all 100%. I'm just talking, right? What I heard 2 years ago, and I shared it to a few on our board, was that he's not happy at the place. And then funny enough, they ended up making him captain this year, and I thought that was odd. And they might have done it just to get him to bond with the club, but I don't think he has. There are real major problems, cultural problems at the Gold Coast, major issues there. So I think what people don't undersell about Richmond, like people say, why do you want to go to the Tigers? And they mention how size and playing MCG, that's all really doesn't mean anything. What a lot of players love about our club, and I think Marriage even put this on record, is outside players understand how close our group is together. They're all mates. They love playing with each other, even though they haven't had great success. They have fun. They do this. We've got elite facilities, but the main thing is they're all mates, and and camaraderie. They all celebrate a goal when we do it. And if you watch our games and then watch other games, see the difference, and you'll see it's stark. One of our boys kicks a goal, half the forward line will run to him. In other games, it's not the same. Now, some teams don't do it as exuberant as ours. So, and other players notice that. I reckon Tom Lynch has been. I do know that we've been in talks. And I heard on that in June, July, before the E things, we were having chat. So I don't know how that's developed. I haven't asked. But he's someone just to keep a name out of. Jacob Hopper's another one that's been strongly spoken about, that I've heard his name dropped a few times from different people. And that's what it is. 'Cause I've got a few mates in the industry. Some of them know of each other, and they might, but they're not mates at all. So when they each start dropping names that are the same names, I give it a bit more validation to it. So Jacob Hopper's heard. I've heard a few ones. I've heard just of late, Brisbane's going really, really, really hard on Rockcliffe, like really hard. Trying to get him to commit, and he hasn't signed yet, has he? No. So I do know last year we went hammer and tong at him, wined and dined. I do know we did that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're looking at him and going, if we feel that we need more midfield grunt, because we've got a good starting four, but Cochin still needs more help. Like Dusty's great, but he's a different types of inside mid. Like he's a contested ball winner, but he's more of a clearance mid. Get ball, get it, and kick it. Not get the ball fanned off to another. And we've robbed ourselves that without Miles. So, yeah, he's just someone to think of Rockcliffe a little bit.
See, he'd be a good addition as well, because, he wouldn't have the same pressure he does up there of being kind of like one of the main men. He can kind of just, fit in third or fourth in line and run amok.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. So there's a few. Cameron, Jake Lever, we're not in the hunt. We're not in the hunt for. Josh Hackey we know about. We're not in the hunt for. What I did hear, this is another club, but I know Bryce Gibbs is in Adelaide. He's going to Adelaide next year. I heard that from a source that I fairly well trust. That's what will probably happen.
So how come I suppose the club held back on trading him, didn't they, the last time round? So it wasn't really his issue. Okay, so he's still going to make the move. Yeah, no, but
exactly. But I think he's definitely. Do think he's definitely going. I know Ryan Shoemakers, Showemakers, copped a little bit of interest. Now, the other one, Pittard, that's the other one I've got here on my notes.
Okay, from Port Adelaide.
Yeah, just we're very conscious of Hooley's age. And we've got a couple of halfback flankers that we're really grooming. Markov was one that a lot of people say, he'd be perfect for. But Markov, we're really looking at as a halfback defensive winger, if that makes any sense. Start on the wing, float to the halfback line, and then run through. Sort of the role that Camden's sort of doing for us now out of necessity, because Markov hasn't got the body yet to be able to be that big ball. What I mean by a ball, but someone that can run but have a big enough body to push off if he needs to, so he can get motor along. So Jasper Pittard might be the one that we might look at and say, you know what, just plonk him in. The reason why is, if people recall, his name came up a few times very early in the year. And generally, when I knew about Prestia, it was about May when I started telling people that I know on the boards, he's ours. Don't even stress about his ours. I know the proof of it. He's done. And then it went cold for a long time, and then it started heading up towards about now. Then it started heading towards the middle to later part of the year. Same things happened with Jasper. I haven't heard that he's ours, but I've heard that we've been interested in it. We've seriously looked at it. So, yeah, here's another one. Don't keep an eye out that we probably will look at. Anthony Miles won't be with us, I don't think. I think he will be at another club. I actually don't think it's Sydney, from what I heard. I heard Gold Coast would love him, and they've already made approaches to him as well. I feel real sorry for Ben Lennon, but I know not many people are going to like this on our boards. They're all going, he's gone. But I do know the club's trying heaven and earth to convince him. He just hasn't had a spot open for him yet. They believe he can be a player.
You reckon, though? I mean, with some of the outs we've had, it kind of felt like it was a real opportune time for him, and he was in some all right form too in the VFL.
I agree with you, mate. I do, but this is all I've heard. I've just heard he's an elite kick. He's a bigger body now. He's starting to develop that nice body size. He's a great mark. I don't think we've walked away thinking from the example maybe put him in the back line. Like he could be, if Vlosten goes down, that type of replacement, someone that can lead up to the ball and mark and then kick to release. You don't need huge pace for that. That's what I've just heard, but I'm 100% convinced on, that we're not convinced just to let him go. We will trade him if the good offer came, obviously, but he's not written off. There's not a line across his name.
Yeah, which I don't mind that, because I think he still has a lot to offer as well, and I'd love to see him get an extended run at playing seniors, provided the circumstances were right, because I think he has quite a bit to offer.
Yeah. Now, this is another odd name that I heard. I heard it a few times, Lucas Webb. Here's another one. Is that the Bulldog defender? Yeah, Bulldog defender. Here's another one that we've had a bit of a chat with. I don't know if that's confirmed. That's very early on. But Lucas Webb, we've had a bit of a look at. So just keep that name under your hat. But, yeah, Lucas Webb.
Okay. Oh, that's some very interesting news there. So we'll definitely have to get you back on a bit closer to trade period time just to see.
That's when it heats up, because what I generally do, I've got a mate of mine. I'm not going to mention it, right? Because if I do, then people are going to start to know that they know this place, will know who I am, right? I've got a mate of mine. Well, he's my brother-in-law that owns a very famous eatery. That a lot of the that's all I'm going to say. But anyway, a lot of people congregate there, and that's generally about trade time, is when I open up a free feed and I ask them, to come down for a meal or blah blah blah. I do it all the time, and we have a bit of a chat. And it's not all, but it's probably drafting stuff's about 5% of what I speak about. But I always endeavour to try to lean it towards conversation of that, and then I get some nuggets of gold from it. So I'll definitely keep you posted.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, as I said, even if it's a week or 2 weeks out from the actual trade period, we'll definitely catch up again. But really appreciate you coming on and sharing that info. And I just hope that the posters can appreciate and respect the fact that you've shared the information and it's coming from a good place. It's not just, someone trying to be that attention-seeking person on Facebook that you see and all that kind of stuff. So
I've been on the board too long now to be an intention seeker, if you get what I mean. I don't post what I know on other boards. I don't. Look, the guys would know, I'm sure, but I'll be honest, I just want to put it on the record. I didn't come on this for that. Like, I know the people I care, their opinions I care about, don't give me any dramas. So Yeah, I post what I hear because I refuse. I've had a lot of my friends say to me, Michael, don't protect yourself, protect yourself, protect yourself, and don't open yourself to this. But I nearly did that a couple of times. But I thought, fuck it. You know, the odd punter that just wants to know a bit of goss. At least I know when I'm giving that goss, it's genuine goss. It's not just bullshit, pulled out of my ass. And I've got, 45 posts in my name, and I'm just posting something just to get a reaction. And all the posts I do are the same type of shit, Oh, yeah, Dusty's leaving. Or, oh, yeah, Trent Conscience is a homosexual and he's getting married to some bloke in LA and he's leaving football. One thing I will say, just to keep everyone I want to throw a spanner in the works, but Alex Rance, I will not be surprised. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I would not be surprised if he doesn't sign his next contract. I would not be surprised if he left the game after his contract's gone.
Well, I mean, that was pretty strong, I guess, from a media perspective when he signed his last one, that there was a lot of talk that he may have walked away. So if that's the case, we better find some success real quick because it's going to be hard without him.
Or he might go year by year. But a few friends I trusted while that Alex Rance thing was going on, I said, look, I've got a feeling I said, to be honest, this is 50-50. Everyone I'm hearing is he could be going, he could be going, he could be going. What's held him to the club is his mates. That's the thing with people relax on Dusty. There's friendships there that are like brotherhood. And I'm not over-exaggerating it either. They live together, they socialise together, they do everything together. So just be mindful of that. So and can I, last thing, Toast, Caddy, how good has he been? Like people have been, Caddy and Prestia. Can I just talk about those two before we finish? Yeah, okay. People have been knocking Prestia for one because he's hasn't, look, I'll be honest, he hasn't played like a pick six level. But the kid's an absolute jet, and we're starting to see what he can do for us on the inside by opening up the play with his hands. Now, he's kicking his shit house. But the thing is, I really believe that's because of his confidence in his knee and of a lack of a pre-season. He hasn't had a pre-season. I think he had one training session a week for 5 months, for the first quarter and a bit of this year. Then he's graduated to 2 training sessions, and he's starting to get now match fit. And we're seeing him. He can run all day, but he can't maintain his accuracy with his kicking. But his hands are elite, and his second efforts are elite. And I reckon next year he's just going to go wowee.
You even look at the numbers of the distance he's covering per game. They're always in the 15, 16, 17 kilometres. So his work rate's exceptional. And I agree that the last month and a bit, you can really see the improvement in his game, which, like you said, comes down to getting that match fitness and confidence back.
And the reason for that is his high numbers too, is because he's running to spots he's thinking his teammates will be leading to, and they're not, or leading to space into, and they're not there. So he's working harder than he needs to. As he starts to learn the game plan, which he is now, you could see he's now getting more instinctively understanding of how his teammates play. So give him another preseason actually playing with these same blokes for 2 now. He's not going to be working so hard. He'll still cover a heck of a lot of distance, but he'll be covering that distance in the right areas. And then watch him start to develop into a weapon. Because, I rate the kid highly, absolutely rate him highly. And Caddy, he's been not playing his position. Thank God. Let's hope Townsend. Now, I love Townsend. I got ridiculed that I said this kid is a natural forward. If you read my post when we first got him, I said this kid's a natural defensive forward. We've got him as a mid, but I believe he's a natural defensive forward, and he will kick 21 goals, over 20 goals with us. Unfortunately, his first couple of seasons have gone to shit. But he showed hopefully can keep that role going, because that's what we need, because Caddy needs to be played in the midfield. He just needs to be that injection player every 15 minutes, get him on, get him to smash into blokes, get him to go the ball forward, get him off, then just do that. And you will see his worth. So, I
actually mentioned those two in the weekly podcast that I just posted before. That I posted the question: can they both play in the same team? And I believe they can as well, because
definitely.
Townsend, like you said, his defensive pressure up forward is pretty good, and he might not be lightning quick like Bolton, Rioli, and all that, but he makes a physical presence, so he kind of compensates for it that way. And he shut Michael Johnson out really well. He hardly got near it.
Michaels, you know what he did that you can't teach, that only natural forwards have? He created his own space. I think it was about 3 marks he got behind Rewalt, where he led Michael Johnson out, then darted in behind the contest and took the mark. That you can't train that. Now, I'm not saying Townsend's going to be our absolute 100% gun player, but I reckon he can be starting 22, and he could stay in there. And I reckon he can be that dangerous forward that he'll be a consistent player. That's all I want from him. Just 1 or 2 goals every second game, but creating a lot of pressure. That'd be perfect.
And the fact that if his opponent gets it, he tackles and hurts him. Like, they know that he's there. So
that's right.
I think I would love to see him play a lot more in the starting 22. And I think Caddy will slot back into the midfield and play the role he was designed to play by coming across to us.
Me too. Yeah, no, I agree. All right.
Well, thank you for coming on, Tiger71.
Anytime.
Absolute pleasure. I'm sure the masses will be very happy to hear a lot of this news. And like I said,
be interested in the feedback.
yes. And like I said, we'll get you back on a bit closer to trade time and see what else has developed. And once again, thank you very much for coming on.
No problem, brother.
Thanks, mate.